Sorry, now I just have Father Abraham in my
I
head.
know, me too.
Father Abraham had many sons. Many sons had Father Abraham.
I'm one of them.
That's called an Easter
And so
egg.
were you.
Hey, welcome to another episode of the Matt and Fiona Show. Thank you so much for joining us. We're super glad that you are here. We'll do a couple quick things just before we jump into today's topic. One, if you're not following us, please go ahead and follow us on the socials at the Matt and Fiona Show. Subscribe to the YouTube channel as well as the podcast channels on your favorite podcast platform. One more thing. We're working towards doing an Ask Me Anything type question and answer episode. So we have some questions, but we'd like to get a couple more. So if you got some, please send them in, send us a message, a DM, and email, whatever, all of the things. And we'll put that together. But let's jump right in to our episode on Father Abraham.
Yes. And anybody who's grown up in church or been around kids
knows the song.
And every time I hear Father Abraham,
or Abraham,
I just hear the song. So if you heard the song too in your head, that's
or at
great.
the intro, because I'm pretty sure that's what I'm going to cut for the intro.
Probably.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. That'll be the intro.
So it may be stuck in your head because it is stuck in mine.
Yes. All right. How do you want to start this off?
Well, I'll start. So the past, 4 or 5 weeks in kids' church, the kids have been studying. At this point, Abram and Sarai, who become Abraham and Sarah. And it's just gotten us kind of chatting, like as things usually do. But going through it, building the curriculum, studying it, and setting it up for kids' church, it's just, I've taken a deeper dive into the story, and
I've taken a really deep dive.
I've taken a really deep dive into the story of Abram, or Abraham, and it just kind of got us talking about
him and his life.
Yes. And how many parallels, I guess, there are to today, which, that is kind of what the Bible is there for, right?
Yeah,
so that we can pick up from those stories and kind of relate it back to us. Everything, when you look at it, is relatable. But I guess one of the things, real briefly, kind of last week when I was going through the kids, after looking at the journey of Abraham, because last week was in children's church was when he eventually fulfilled the promise and became Abraham, and the Lord changed his name. But through his whole journey, from when God gave him the promise of, having all these descendants, and
having
all the land from the north, the south, the east, and the west. There was like a 24-year period. And going through the journey of it, Abraham and Sarah, they're in Hebrews in the Faith Hall of Fame, about their great faith, which they definitely had. But sometimes I guess the part that gets overlooked is that through that journey, it also shows where Abram screwed up.
Yeah.
The Lord told him to do something, and although he listened, he didn't listen fully. He took Lot with him, which he wasn't supposed to do when he was supposed to leave, which later on caused problems, which, God knew was going to happen. So he listened, but he only partly listened to God. In that, he was 75 years old when the promise was given to him. Yeah. His promises weren't fulfilled till he was 99 years old. But through all that, what we started talking about is, looking at the walk of many Christians and so often, sometimes it gets, I don't want to say frustrating, but some hurtful, whatever word you want into. But when you watch the lives of believers and they fall and they stumble, sometimes, you can look at them and be like, man, they really should know better. And sometimes, and many times they probably should.
Well, heck, even when you stumble yourself.
Yeah.
And you do oh my gosh, I know better than this.
Yes. Yes. Because we all stumble. But, just looking at certain people, and you think, well, they should be getting into that. And, they don't want it because they do have a heart for the Lord. And it's like, man, how could they get that so wrong? And then I was just looking at this life and story of Abram, and I'm like, how many things did he get wrong along the way that you could look at it and be like, man, how did he get that wrong? I mean, the Lord was so clear with him.
Well, and what's crazy when you look at the story and when you go through it, not only did, like, he got some of the small stuff wrong, right? Mm-hmm. Like when he was leaving his country,
yep,
right? And again, he took his brother's son Lot.
Yep.
You look at that and you go, well, obviously that was, he was being disobedient, but in the realm of things to be disobedient with, okay, so he brought somebody with him.
Right.
Like, is it that big of a deal? But at the same time, when he did that, not only was it wrong, but he also didn't recognize himself that it was wrong, nor did God really correct him on it. He didn't call him out and make a big deal about it.
Right.
Just kept moving forward, kept moving along. And I think what's so interesting about his story is it's not just this, continual screw up, right? It's not one mistake after another, after another, after another. He makes a couple mistakes, and then I think it's Melchizedek offers him land and money and all of these things, and he turns it down.
Yes.
And he's like, no, my God will supply. He's made promises to me. I will trust in him, right? And then the next story, he goes and makes another mistake.
Yes.
And it's this, it's so easy to look at life and go, when I'm going to screw up, I'm going to screw up. And when I'm not, I'm not. Right? When I'm doing things right and when I'm doing things biblically, everything's great.
Right.
And Abram's life, especially in these, 25, 26 years, are a really good example of real life.
Yes.
Right? Of he's trying to do right. And then sometimes he screws up and does wrong. He doesn't realize that he's even doing wrong. And he wants to be
obedient. He thinks he has fully put his trust in the Lord.
Yeah. He's
convinced he's put his trust in the Lord. Even to the point, and he takes things into his own hands.
Yeah.
He knows that the promises God gave him are true. He's also trying to figure out how to make those promises come to pass on his own.
Well, and I think that, gosh, not that I've never put two and two together, but wow, I don't know if I've fully put two and two together on that one. God has these promises for him, and they're really big promises.
Yeah.
Right? He's got a word from the Lord that is groundbreaking for the world.
That holds true today.
Right. But
yes.
He's the father of many nations.
Yes.
He will inherit the earth. His descendants will inherit the earth completely.
Yes.
I've had some good words over me. You've had some good words over you. Not to that level at all.
No.
It's crazy. And then he's wanting a son because he needs offspring.
Right.
So that can come to pass.
Yes.
Because you can't have more descendants than, grains of sand, right?
If you don't have any offspring.
So he and his wife are trying to get there, right? They're trying to put some, for lack of a better term, some work to their faith.
Right.
Right. And then they come up with this harebrained scheme that is definitely not what God had planned.
No.
Right? To go and have a child with the maid.
Yep.
If you were confused about that, that is not the way to do it.
No, it's not.
Just a little helpful hint.
Nope.
But they go and do it because they're trying to help.
Yeah.
And God doesn't strike them down.
Nope.
Right?
God doesn't take the promise away from them.
No. And they don't even recognize that at that point.
Right.
That was on the table.
Yeah.
Right? But they go through all this work and these years of waiting and then get to the point where they're like, obviously God needs some help.
Yeah, because it was 75 when he gave the promise. So when they decided to help, Abram was 86.
86.
So it's been 11 years, right? Time goes in between promises. Just because you get a promise today or a prophecy today doesn't mean, you get it tomorrow. Perfect example, sidebar there.
So they go and do that.
Yes.
Right? And again, God doesn't punish that. Right? They move on from there and get further along. And then they get to the point where they finally see the manifestation of that promise in Isaac.
Yeah.
Right? And they have Isaac. And
at that point, Abram was 99 years old.
And it makes me wonder how much faster Isaac would have come.
Oof.
If they hadn't helped so much.
Right.
Right. And I look at that in terms of so many other aspects of our walk. Right. And go, how often have we not trusted God fully?
Yeah.
We trust God, and we trust God when somebody asks us, oh, I'm believing the Lord.
In words.
I'm believing the Lord for a spouse.
Yeah.
But I'm swiping on Tinder every day. Or whatever app is out there. I have no idea. I'm assuming it's still Tinder. Or Christian Mingle or whatever else is out there. I'm going out on speed dating things. I'm doing all these things. I'm helping the Lord. I'm just
without asking him if it's the kind of help he wants or if it's the direction you should be going.
Right?
Without
it's I'm believing God for a new job. And instead of checking Indeed, right, and seeing what's out there and maybe applying, you're trying to call in favors. You're trying to push it, right? If you've got a child that is not walking with the Lord and you're praying and believing that they're going to walk with the Lord, how often are you praying and believing versus calling your friends and being like, you know what, the next time you see Joe, would you drop a hint that he needs to get back to church? Right? There's a balance between trying to, adding work to your faith.
Right.
Right. You can't just sit back and go like, I'm believing God for $1 million or put whatever you want in there. Right.
Yeah.
And go, oh, I'm believing the Lord. I'm believing the Lord. Well, you don't have a job.
Right.
Right. Like there is an aspect of putting work to your faith, but there's also I don't want to say a line, but a line. Right.
And I'm going to say, I think this is something we all struggle with. We want to believe the Lord wholeheartedly with everything that we are.
But we also think he needs help.
But yeah. Or our mind tries to take over and we let it. Again, we all do it. This is not like I'm pointing because me too. But you too. But anyway, sorry.
Hate the band.
Oh, okay. Anyway.
I like Easter eggs, though.
See, now it's all good.
Did you lose your train of thought?
A little bit. Sometimes it happens. It's fine. No. So what I was going to say, we all have this where, we want these things and our heart so much wants to trust God and just hold on to that trust. And then our brain thinks, well, I do trust him, but if I did A, B, C, and D, it might just move the process along a little bit faster.
No, we get a little closer.
We'll get a little bit closer because, we know better than he does. And we think like that without realizing it. And this is kind of what's going on with Abram throughout all of these scriptures. We know that he loves the Lord and he trusts the Lord because that's very evident But we also see that he's like, you know what? He hears what the Lord's saying and he's definitely trying to do it, but he's not doing it exactly right, or he's taking things into his own hands. But eventually, this is a 24-year journey. So obviously there's growth. And he keeps pressing in. And God's promise still holds. God never takes his promise away. Sorry, I talk with my hands a lot. God's promise is never taken from him. And Abram keeps pressing in and keeps walking
out his faith.
And then finally, when Abram is 99 years old, so this started at 75. So it says, when Abram was 99, I'm going to read it, it's going to be easier. When Abram was 99 years old, the Lord appeared to Abram and said, I am Almighty God. Walk before me, blameless, and I will make you a covenant between me and you, and it will be will multiply and exceedingly. Screw that up a little bit, but you get the point. But this is like the third or fourth or fifth time that God's been like, here's my promise to you. It holds true. And this is the part that gets me. Then Abram fell on his face. There was a humbling. There was almost a moment of fully recognizing and coming to himself where he's like, oh my goodness.
He had a come to Jesus moment.
He did. He had a major come to Jesus moment. And it said, and God talked with him saying, as for me, behold, my covenant is with you. Yet again, promise is still true. And you shall be a father of many nations. No, and this right here, this is where he's changed. From this moment forward, no longer shall your name be called Abram, but your name shall be called Abraham. For I have made you a father of many nations, and I will make you exceedingly fruitful, and will make nations from you, and kings shall come from you. So there was, simply put, a come to Jesus meeting, but he was walking out his faith over 25 years.
Stumbling, failing, getting back up.
Yep.
Whether he knew it or not.
Right?
Yep.
Walking, pushing forward, keeping his eye on the Lord.
On the promise,
Keeping his eye on the promise. But it wasn't until this point, 25 years later, where the fulfillment of it could come to pass, because he got to a point where God needed him to be. He tried to help along the way, but God needed him to get to that stage, to get to that point, to be fully committed, to not have to have the heart be in charge and not the head. And, so often we'll see people who make a bad head decision, even though their heart
is in the right spot.
Here's also the thing. We can't make that heart decision for people.
Oh gosh, no.
That heart decision needs to come within them. And so often we may want to try to be that heart change for people. We invest in people's lives.
Yep.
We reach out.
Pray for them, believe for them.
Believe them, encourage them, strengthen them, fight with them.
But you have to get to that point where it not only is it real to you, but it's you own it. Right? And we talk about ownership a lot on this show. But this is that same thing. You have to own it yourself. And we as leaders in the church, we as just a married couple,
parents.
Yeah, like we want the best for our kids, right? We cannot will the best for our kids in them as much as we'll try.
Yeah.
Right? We've got friends that are serving the Lord. We have friends that aren't serving the Lord. We have friends that are somewhere in the middle.
Yep.
Right? We can't will them to have a better relationship or a real relationship or a trusting relationship with God. We want to, but we can't. And again, Abraham is the perfect example.
Yeah.
Because God could have made everything easy for him. He could have slapped him back into line every time he screwed up. But he didn't. Because if he did, he never would have learned anything and he never would have got there.
Well, and also, if it was just, also on the flip side, if it was a do this and he just did it, do this and he just did it, and he was that puppet along the way.
Yeah. Well, again, it's the whole free will side, right? But, you look at Abraham, you look at that trajectory of life, right? And when he did get to that point, because God gave him a lot of like checkpoints to essentially get through, right? He had a lot of things in his life that he had to work through.
Yeah.
Once he got there and they got the promise, I think most Christians think that once they get to wherever they feel God wants them to be, that everything is going to get easy, right? And his journey to this point wasn't necessarily incredibly difficult, but it also wasn't easy, right? Like it took a lot of faith. I know quite a few people who are quite connected to God who, and again, I'm just going to say it very incredibly bluntly, 2-3 years of trying to have kids and it doesn't work and they've stopped believing.
Or people who haven't found a spouse yet.
Yeah. I don't want to say they give up, but they kind of give up.
Right.
God doesn't want it.
They help.
Yeah.
They help along. They're not waiting. They're not waiting for the person.
They don't have the patience.
Yes.
They don't have the patience and the perseverance to get to that point. It took him 26 years to get there.
Yeah.
Right. And then when they finally get there and they finally step into those promises, and then they have Isaac.
Yeah.
Right. And I can't have a story about Abraham that doesn't bring up Isaac at all.
That's fine.
But then they get there and they have Isaac, and you look at the faith that he has. And again, this is part of, I'd argue, the main reason he's in the Faith Hall of Fame is because of this. He gets to that point where, again, you got to look at the trajectory of his walk.
Yeah.
Right? Where we first really get to know him is him being asked to go on a trip by yourself.
Yeah.
Which is pretty simple and pretty self-explanatory, and he screws it up.
Yeah.
Right?
Right. Yep.
And he brings his nephew. And I have nephews, and I'd take Austin somewhere, but there's a lot of times that kid would annoy me. And hopefully he's listening so he'd hear it. And now we'll know if he's not. But, it's honestly easier to travel by yourself.
Yes, it is.
Right? Like, that's where he was. But then when he gets to the promise and he has his son and he has Isaac,
yep,
God asks him to do arguably the impossible.
Yep.
Right? And you can see how far he's grown because he does it.
Willingly,
without any major trepidation.
Knowing wholeheartedly that
there's no
somehow, but also knowing that somehow, some way, God's promise still holds. So if God's promise holds, well, he's going to raise him from the dead, or he's going to.
But he doesn't know that.
Yeah. But he just knows God's promises are true. This is how committed he is to who his God is.
When he gets to that point, that's where he's at.
So when God asks us to do things, it doesn't always make sense. And that's probably why in the beginning, kind of screwed up a little bit.
Yeah.
Because it didn't fully make sense. Or it wasn't meant to, he didn't really take it seriously.
It just, he is that, again, there's a reason he's in the Faith Hall of Fame in Hebrews, but it is, I don't think enough Christians look at Abraham and see themselves. Right?
Yeah.
And I think if you can take a lesson from this, it's that God meets you where you're at. He wants you to succeed. He wants you to get there. And he knows you're going to screw up. You're going to drop the ball. And if you'll stick with it, if you'll keep the faith, if you'll fight the fight, those promises are there and you'll get there.
Yep.
So many Christians, their energy level for fighting that fight wanes so quickly.
It can be hard sometimes.
No. We go through it ourselves.
Yeah, we do.
Like, I've had a rough week this week, and it's been a challenge.
Yep.
And when we started talking about specifically this show, it reminded me of again, the fact that we just have to keep fighting.
Yeah.
Which is what we tell each other all the time.
Yes, we do.
We don't fight the way you're thinking, but like
fight through life.
Yes. There are so many ridiculously good gems in Abraham's story that are simplistic.
Yeah.
Which is what I love about it.
That are so relatable.
They're so relatable. And it's what I love about it so much is that, again, so many people look at the big figures in the Bible and they put them on the pedestal because they only think about the one or two things. So anytime you bring up Abraham to someone, they bring up Isaac.
Right.
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 And he screwed up so much before he got there.
Yeah.
Right. And
he had a journey.
It's such a good, if we can remember that as Christians, as churchgoers, that this is the story of one of the key people in the Bible. And he's just like every one of us.
Yep.
Right? There are no perfect people other than Jesus in the Bible.
Yep.
Right? But we focus so much of our time on just those little pockets when they were really good, when they were doing all the right things.
Right.
And Abram's the father of many nations.
Yeah.
And, he was a screw up at the start. It took him a long time to get there.
Yeah.
And then when he got there, not like, again, the battle still got harder. They got bigger. They got stronger. But he was also stronger. He was better equipped to fight them.
That's what I was just going to say. He was better equipped to be able to go through, because God is always going to push you further, and God always has more for you. In every battle that kind of comes in front of you, I could probably preach this to myself right now, but every battle that goes in front of you, it can either break you down, or it can get you to a point to build you stronger for what is next to come. But what is next to come, although the battle may be bigger, the reward's also bigger too.
Yep.
And God's promise will always hold true. He will always be there for us. He never gives us more than what we can handle, right? But through it all, we need to keep fighting forward, moving forward, growing stronger every single day.
Yeah. Repent and move on.
Repent and move on, and choose to be obedient. One of Dawn's favorites, which has become one of mine with the kids, with obedience comes blessing, right? But through this journey, there were 25 years to which God gave a promise, to which then the promise was fulfilled. And then the story kept going.
Yeah.
But just because you haven't seen your promise yet, just because you may have screwed up, doesn't mean that God doesn't still have a plan, a purpose, and promise for you. So repent, move on, and fight to be obedient. And when you do screw up, because it's going to happen, go through that again. Repent, move on. I mean, aim not to do it again, but we're not perfect. We're never going to be, but we can strive to be more Christ-like. We can strive to be obedient, and we can strive to listen to what the Lord is telling us and trusting in him. I think that's a big one. We so much want to do things ourselves, but we really need to be able to put our trust in him, knowing that he's got this all sorted out and figured out.
Yeah. Yep. So, well, you've been talking. You might as well wrap it.
Okay. So,
you don't know how to wrap it, do you?
Anyway, so yes, I do. Shut up. Anyway, again, this is just something because I've been studying it so much for the kids in church, and we've been talking about it, just kind of the parallels of the story and life, and what I know I've gone through and what I've seen other people go through. It really has just been in my heart that we need to fight for obedience. We need to know that we are going to screw up, but even when we do screw up, repent and move on, and God's promise is still there.
Yep.
And he always knows better than we do. So I know that's a hard one, but he does. So this, again, just to be encouraging, and know that you've never done something that is not forgivable, and to a point where you can't repent, turn your heart towards God. But
Yep.
remember, with Abraham, it got to the point where he fell on his face, and it was a 25-year journey. And that is when God finally changed his name from Abram to Abraham. And, we're supposed to be new creatures in Christ, and that's what he wants to do for us. So seek him, try to put him first, and just know that he's got this figured out. And when you screw up, remind yourself of that. But we just want to thank you for joining us this week and letting us kind of share what's on my heart. I mean, we've had some conversations about this too, but this has just kind of been on my heart recently. But so thank you for joining us.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know all the places we're at.
I know. I was going to say you don't know how to do this.
We're on YouTube. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram. All the social media the podcast platforms.
Oh, very good.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
majority of them.
The majority of them. If there's
we're
one,
on Apple and Spotify and
if there's one you like that we're not on,
let us know.
Him know, and he can fix it.
But again, thank you so much for joining us. When you are on those sites, please subscribe, please like, and again, send questions in for our AMA episode that we're looking at doing soon. Other than that, we will see you next week. Thanks for watching.
Bye now.
Or listening.
Or listening.
Or
yes.
whatever.